Space Jelly here. Today I'm going to be doing a review on the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Hush Batman. This is his second attempt at it. He made one before with the black and gray color scheme with Hush in a 2-pack. This is the single release where he has the blue and gray look. So I plan on doing a review on the other two figures that use this body, the Vampire Batman and the other 2-pack one. But we're going to start off with this one. So it's going to be like a kind of a 3-part series thing. We're going to start off with the height, if I could find the ruler. Okay. He's a little bit tall. He's almost 8 inches, but he's about 7.5 and maybe 7 3/4 to the top of his ears. So 7.5 to his head, 7 3/4 to his ears. And I have all of my Batman figures here to compare him to. So this is him next to the McFarlane Toys Future State Batman. This is him next to the McFarlane Toys Flashpoint Batman. Yeah, he's pretty tall. This is him next to the Rebirth Batman. Next to the Page Puncher Batman. These are all McFarlane. I don't have any other ones. The Page Puncher one is pretty tall too. Next to the other Future State Batman. Next to the Omega Batman. Still shorter than him. Lots of figures. The White Knight Batman. This one's pretty short. Last two. The Speeding Bullets Batman. And also, lastly, the Azrael Batman from Nightfall. I think Azrael's about as tall as him. So yeah, I have all these figures here to make a point that he's really tall. I think he's a bit too tall. And I don't think he's really going to fit in with much more of your DC Multiverse stuff unless you want a super tall Batman for some reason. So, speaking about aesthetics, we're going to zoom in a little bit and turn on that light. Yeah. So we're gonna look at the cowl first. It's actually a pretty good sculpt, but if you back up a little bit, he kind of looks like an angry old woman, if that makes any sense. Like, you can see all the wrinkles and stuff, and the eyes are a little bit slanted outwards, so I don't know. I just kind of see it as that. Otherwise, though, like at a closer look, it is a pretty good head sculpt. This is probably the best thing about this figure. He has this darker gray. It's not a really light gray, but I guess it's supposed to be better for how the comic portrays him in this specific outfit. So he has like a greenish gray outfit with a greenish gray highlight, like the other parts of the suit, like the cape and stuff. He has this is painted. He does have painted black spots on his eyes, so that makes his eyes look darker, which is pretty cool. He doesn't have that problem with the joint being painted like the other one, so that's good. The rest isn't painted except for his cape. He actually does have shading on his cape, but nowhere else really. aside from the face. That's it. His accessories are the two fists he has on right now. He came with these. He actually didn't come with these in the packaging. These are separate pieces, and one of them has a kryptonite ring on it. I wanted to make a point though, because his normal hands don't have these ridges on them. Like, these kind of look like biker gloves. These are clearly not. So, I don't know what's going on there. But he comes with those two. He comes with the two hands that he has in the packaging, a gripping hand and one clenching finger hand, I guess. He comes with two giant batarangs. And he also came with his card and his display stand, which he actually needs. Like, it's a necessity for this specific figure because he's almost impossible to stand. And we'll get to that in the articulation. So, rating his aesthetics, the sculpt is decent, but the legs are very long. I think that's what's making him super tall. And his midsection is pretty nicely defined, but his arms and his legs do not really have that much muscle definition. Also, if you can see here, his chest is really slopey. I don't really like it when any toy companies do that. I'm going to bring another figure here that I think does a better job at it. Here's the Rebirth Batman. You can see his chest kind of goes back. His chest is forwards. I'll bring another figure. My favorite one, next to the Azrael Batman, the Speeding Bullets one. It kind of goes back a little bit, but it doesn't look as slopey. I don't know why he does that. It kind of looks like he's arcing back all the time. This one does not look like that. Also, the abs are uneven, which is technically correct. People could obviously have that, but I don't really know why he's doing this with an action figure. But yeah, you can see all the serrator muscles, the shoulders, but no definition in the arms. Not really much definition in the quads either. It's weird. So overall sculpt is maybe a 6. For the painting, he has these paint mishaps all over him. You can see on his leg and his body. I don't really know what that's about. It's probably because they tried painting this stuff and the gloves, but it's really silly. I don't know why they got blue paint on his leg and his torso if they just had to paint the gloves. So the painting is okay, but there's not a lot on him. It's like maybe a 5. The accessories are pretty decent for McFarlane. That's like a 7. And now articulation. He comes with a ball peg in his neck, not a double ball peg in the head like usual. He can look down pretty far, which is good for Batman. He can look up okay, I guess. It's not really the best. He tilts his head from side to side pretty good. It would be better if he had a ball peg in his neck and in his head, so what can you do? He has these shoulder blade joints that kind of wiggle around, but not really. Shoulders go up, go down, fully rotate, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. He has a ball hinged wrist. He has a diaphragm cut, which is a little bit weird because it seems like he only goes this far forward, but if you crank on it, he can go a little bit further forward. Going back, it's pretty gappy though, and I guess it works. Side to side is decent, but even though he can crunch forward, it's not that much. The bottom one kind of works. Rotation and side to side movement. Rotates. That one's okay. The trunks kind of get out of the way. He kicks forward pretty far, but kind of out. He kicks back really far. Legs can do full splits. So not really a restrictive diaper piece on him. Thigh swivel. Double jointed knees. His legs are really long. Lower legs are really long. That's what's making him super tall. And to the ankles. They're super ratcheted and there's a lot of range. But because of this, because the ratchets are so far spaced, he has a really hard time standing up. And also, the rocker is super loose on both feet. So, the stand is pretty necessary for him. He also has a toe hinge. So the articulation is kind of standard for McFarlane toys. He can crunch forward a little bit more than most of his figures, but not really that much. The arms are okay, but the shoulder blade things don't work. And the head is okay, but he doesn't have the double ball peg in his head, which I would prefer, but it's not bad. He has decent articulation. It's probably a 7. So I guess this would round off his overall score to be like a 6.5 to 7. So not a super great score, but if you like a 6 or 7 out of 10. If you want a Hush Batman, I think the only ones they have were made a long time ago, or they're made by Mafex. So there's not a lot of options. But I think if you just want him to look good enough to the Hush comic book Batman, this is pretty good. It's not a terrible figure. It's just not really everything that I'd like, but of course, that's all subjective. So if you can find him for a good price, he's not super overpriced, and you like him enough, then I think he's worth it. So yeah, anyways, thanks for liking, commenting, and subscribing. We're working on a Patreon, and in this Patreon we're going to have giveaways, we're going to have raffles, we're going to have access to behind the scenes stuff, and a Discord server, but we're still working on it. So if you want to join, you can. If you want to, it'll help with the channel. It'll help us get more action figures to review. So I'll also be very grateful for that too. So yeah, anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye. Guys, don't even walk. Don't even breathe.